Chanchal Singh Babak from Babak village in district Hoshiarpur. After passing his matriculation exam, possibly in the early 40s, he became active in the communist movement full time and continued to be active. He was asked to move to Bihar to organize industrial workers into trade unions. He and his wife moved there, and he changed his name from Chanchal Singh to Chan Singh and continued to work there for several years. But he was detected, and then the movement and the Communist Party asked him to move back to Punjab. He moved back to Punjab, but he obtained his passport under the name of Chan Singh when he was working in Bihar. And on that passport, because it was any Commonwealth immigrant can come into Britain, he came to Britain. He was interested in literary work. For his living earner, he worked sometime in the industry, and for some time he worked on the buses as a bus conductor. He bought his first house after Jeet Kaur joined him with his elder son Kallu in Nottingham Meadow. It was a small house, but he keep in touch with the IWA. Nottingham branch of IWA was formed early 60s, and he played his role in the Indian Work Association. Also, as his living, he started taxi driving in Nottingham, and later on he bought two more houses on Trent Boulevard, converted into old people home, but he continued to work, and his much focus was on literary work, Urdu poetry particularly, and facilitating poets from Pakistan, India, and other writers. Yes, he continued his sport in his old age. He became a cancer patient, prostate cancer, and which he managed very well, and he lived up to age of 88. His wife, she died in 2004, and he was completely shattered after his wife's death.
What was his role with the taxi drivers in Nottingham? What was his role with the taxi drivers in Nottingham?
It was taxi driver union, in Nottingham, and particularly the one fight, because Nottingham City Council were heavily discriminating to issue license to the Asian mm, for having taxi driving license, and they formed the taxi drivers union and impressed on the city council, and they mm, got that through, that it should be on the merit rather than white person or Asian person.
He also ran a care home after finishing doing taxis.
He finished doing taxi, and for several years he ran the care home. He lived in one house, and next two door houses were his old people care homes, and he sold those in I think 1990 and bought his house where he expired.
He accompanied you on visits to India.
Yes, he did in 2000 when he and his wife organized People's Langar at Mela Gadri Babiyan da, Deshpak Yadgar Hall, and they provided about 5 lakh rupees for providing that food, and for construction of the building, one of the hall, he contributed £10,000. But Kallu, Billy, Susan, no match to Chanchal. He wrote his biography. I got it published, and it was The Road of the Life in translation. And in that, he did not hide his children, how they were uncooperative with him and sportive, and he very well written, and Susan didn't mind, but Kallu and Billy, that they didn't like it, and they said, what was the point of writing that? And Chanchal said, well, this is what I knew and you knew, and what's wrong writing in my biography?